Hi everyone, I'm Carol, and I thought I'd like to start a vlog series. Been trying to get my thoughts together for a long time now, but I had opened this channel to do a vlog series several years ago. A few years ago, my intention was to do not exactly a beauty makeover, but like an overall making myself over in a lot of different areas, and I was going to document it and have it online. And what had happened was, I had a Charlie horse in my leg. What had happened was I was getting ready to start a business at home, and what that business was, I was going to grow heritage, organic fruits and vegetables in my backyard. And I was getting a greenhouse ready in the late summer of 2013. And I was getting everything assembled so that like in the late winter I could start putting my stuff in the greenhouse and start growing it for the next summer, which would be the summer of 2014. As I was laying out the foundation for the greenhouse, I got bit by a mosquito carrying West Nile virus. And from that moment on, my life was completely turned upside down. And it left me paralyzed to the point where I couldn't even breathe for myself for many months. 2 of those months I was in ICU in the hospital, where after it was determined that I was going to live and I was stabilized, they moved me into another room off of the IC unit for a week, and then I was placed in a rehabilitation home for a little over a year. And I am now breathing on my own. I'm no longer, I have a trachea, no longer on a machine breathing for me, and I have regained probably 60% of my mobility. I could say I regained 100% of my mobility, but I am not 100% the way I was before all this happened. I'm still like heavily dependent on a wheelchair, though I can walk and stuff like that. While I was in the nursing home and in the hospital, I've had some horrible experiences. And I feel like I need to share that with everyone, because now that I have my voice again, people need to know what it's like for people who are incapacitated to the point where they can't even speak for themselves. And it kind of like refreshed my memory about this, because a few months ago I had gotten sick earlier this year, where it kept landing me in the hospital for more than 2 months in and out. And I was weakened to the point where the doctor strongly suggested I go into another rehabilitation center and regain my strength through physical therapy. And while I was in that facility, another resident, as I was being released that day, he was talking to me outside, and he was saying that he was very sad to see me go because I was the one that was brave enough to speak up, that nobody else was brave to speak up, because if they had spoken up about the treatment that they were receiving, they were afraid that it would get worse for them. And these were people that did have a voice, and they were fearful about using it because they were fearful that things would get worse for them at these facilities. And it kind of reminded me of the nightmares that I had to endure when I was incapable of speaking at all. So I'm still gonna kind of like keep this with the same tone of mind makeover, except now it's gonna be kind of like me reinventing myself and reclaiming my health. So I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm going to get back into the gist of everything, and I'm going to work on this. And at the same time, I'll tell you stories and incidences of things that have happened to me while I was under the care of the health care system. And if you have a loved one that's in the health, that's being treated for something and they don't have the ability to speak, you kind of need to know the horrors that are going on. Because even in these places that are very well, good, excellent reviews, like let's say Henry Ford Hospital of West Bloomfield, Michigan, that's an excellent facility, and I'm sure, I haven't checked the reviews, but I'm sure it gets excellent reviews. Top-notch facility, up-to-date services of everything, and yet there were times that I was there where the service that I got, how I was treated by some of the nurses, was absolutely horrible. And the last rehabilitation facility I was at, which was also a place that I worked at, I was employed there, and for the most part I was treated very well. But a nurse, one that I have worked with when I worked at that facility, who knew me from that time, talked to me in such a way like she was treating me like a child, trying to shame me. And I just blew up on her. I'm like, who does she think she is talking to me in such a way? And these were top-notch places. Like, this facility that I worked at would be like a high-end 3-star or a low-end 4-star facility. Very luxurious, not like your typical nursing home. And, even these places, bad things will happen in them. And if you have family members in such a place like that, you 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 need to set up some kind of things where you can pay attention to see how well your family member is being treated, because the mistreatment falls under a lot of categories that you have to be aware of, because you have cleanliness, showers, you have issues with diaper changing, um, verbal abuse, all kinds of things. Abuse comes in all kinds of ways. It could be verbal, it could be physical, and it could be neglect. And I'm willing to share a lot of the stories that I have experienced in the year and a half that I've had to deal with myself, and in the weakened condition that I was in, not being able to care for myself and being so dependent on these people. And these are things that you need to know for yourself, and maybe I can help in some way how to direct you and how to get things accomplished and to proceed forward so that things, work better in your interests. Things are different with everyone, but the mistreatment is not just with the staff, it also falls on the management as well, all the way up to and including the administration. So yeah, there's a big, huge problem, and if any of these things ring familiar for you, then there is definitely a huge problem at the facility that you are looking into, and you might want to relocate, and if not, contacting state and making sure these issues get resolved, because it's a very serious problem. And I don't know how I hope I can help in some kind of way, if at all, at least shed light on what's going on. Thank you. Be blessed.